Hey guys, Ruben here. Today we are talking about discipline and how you can use it to make your life exactly how you want it to be. With discipline, you can dream again. You can make your life exactly the way you've designed it, and you can be who you want to be. So in this video, we're going to dig into what discipline is, what traits are associated with it, and what we have to do to achieve it in our own lives. The whole reason that I made this video is so that hopefully I can inspire you as I've been inspired from other people. For somebody out there, it may be time to go in a different direction using the trait of discipline. So let's get right into it. And so my question for you as we begin is, what do you want your life to look like? Will Smith says this about discipline.
So a dude screamed to me the other night, "Hey, Will, I want to be an actor, man. I want to be an actor just like you." You know, usually people say stuff to me like that. I'm like, "Yeah, man, you know, you can do it." Give them an encouraging word. But I was just sitting in here thinking, and it dawned on me, 99% of people that say stuff like that are not willing to do what it takes to make their dreams come true. The Marines have a saying, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. And that's just real. At the center of bringing any dream into fruition is self-discipline. You know, something as simple as food and eating. It's not about your body as much as it is about your mind. It's getting command of your mind to be able to choose actions that are in your own best interest. Every day, we are choosing shit that's not in our own best interest. Right? So if the world is attacking you and the world wants to fight you and the world's trying to hold you down, so you're going to kick yourself in the balls? So you're going to stop yourself from getting what you dream. Self-discipline is the center of all material success. You cannot win the war against the world if you can't win the war against your own mind.
So how true is this? It's hard for me to think through anyone who is successful that doesn't have discipline in their own craft. And whatever they do, whatever they're successful in, you have to have discipline. Discipline is going to bring you further in life. It is the key to freedom. It is the key to getting what you want, to having self-respect, and making your dreams come true. And so let's start at the beginning. What is discipline? I love this definition. It says to train oneself to do something in a controlled and habitual way. With discipline, you get to choose what your habits in your life are. With discipline, you get to choose how much progress you want to make in life. And so let's dive into the traits of discipline so that we can begin to put it into our own lives. And so the first trait that we'll talk about is self-awareness. And so Kevin Hart says this.
I encourage any and everybody to do is just understand who you are. Truly understand who you are. Learn yourself.
Yeah.
Learn yourself. Learn your pros and your cons. Get your flaws. Get them out the way, but with you, not to nobody else. This is a you and you thing. Of the shit that you know you need to work on. I'm telling you, people, when you really look yourself in the mirror and you start to pick yourself apart by yourself, there's only room for improvement.
Self-awareness will allow you to know where you are and where you want to be. And also, if you don't have self-awareness, it's going to stop progress, because you could easily just lie to yourself and say, hey, I've already arrived to where I want to be, even if you aren't. You could lie to yourself and say, hey, I can't even get better. But self-awareness will allow you to figure out where you are so you can make progress and begin to make that journey into your life. And so self-awareness allows you to stop hiding from yourself and to know exactly who you are. And then beyond that is a word that I would call other awareness, which I don't even know if that's a real word, but what I mean by it is knowing when other people are better than you so that you can learn from them. And also learning to pass on feedback, to not listen to feedback when there's somebody that you don't want to be like, somebody that you know that's not further along than you. See, if you don't have self-awareness, you begin to ignore your faults. You begin to blame others for things that you are actually responsible for. And this becomes a habit. And so we have to break this habit through self-awareness so that we can learn how we need to get better, what we need to do to become who we want to be. One way that I like to look at self-awareness is that you first have to suck at something to be great. If there's never a moment in your life that you realize that you are bad at something, chances are you're only going to be mediocre at best. And so an example for me is like when you're working out. If you're working out with somebody that is better than you, somebody that is more fit, that's stronger, and every single time they turn their head, you start skipping reps, then guess what? You're never going to catch them. You're never going to make as much progress as them if they are still beating you or still tying the workout and doing all the reps. And so knowing that you need to make progress, not lying to yourself, allows you to make progress with self-discipline. And so now on to the second trait of building self-discipline. That is the ability to be uncomfortable more often than not.
If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. Complain, point at your circumstances, give up your power, blame the government, blame the economy. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. It's hard to make a radical change in your behavior. It's hard to take ownership. It's hard to swallow the bitter pill that wherever you find yourself, at some point in time, you made an appointment to be there.
You have to teach yourself that it's okay to be uncomfortable. You see this in successful people. They are more uncomfortable than normal in a lot of situations, and it's a really hard thing to create. Because at first it is very hard. This is unnatural. Our body tells us to be comfortable in every situation that we can. But after a while, this becomes contagious. And it's not that you ever like being uncomfortable, but you begin to have that uncomfortable feeling and you associate it with being successful. And so that allows you to be motivated and continually do it over and over again. The legendary Jocko says this: discipline equals freedom. Whenever we become okay to be uncomfortable, we're not only going to do what our body feels like it, but we get to do whatever we want that makes us and allows us to go the right direction in life. Discipline equals freedom. And so successful people have to be willing to be uncomfortable more often than normal. And so the third trait that I'll talk about is the drive for improvement. Now, I don't know exactly where this comes. It's deep in the soul, but there's a drive for a certain amount of people that just want to get better no matter what. And maybe it's an experience that you have. Maybe it's someone that's doubted you in the past. Whatever it is, you have to have this drive to improve. And you want it to be a healthy drive for improvement. There are so many examples of people going too far in life, trying to become too much in life and putting way too much pressure on yourself. But improvement in all areas of life is a good thing. And when you have this drive for improvement, it is going to naturally push you towards self-discipline. And so now that we've talked through some traits that allow us to start developing self-discipline, I want to go to the fast track. What are some paths straight to self-discipline? The first one I want to talk about is what I call forced discipline. Forced discipline is all about the environment that you're in. And it's an environment that is going to push you and make you disciplined. This could be sports where you have to get up early in the morning, 6 a.m. workouts, maybe late nights where you're watching film, having to work out all the time. All this is forced discipline. Or maybe it's something like the army where you're getting yelled at every day. You're going through boot camp. You're going through all this stuff. Or maybe it's just having a full-time job for the first time. You have to be there. The boss is relying on you. You've got to do a certain amount of work every single week. All these things are going to push you into discipline. But here's the thing. For some people, this forced discipline can be a good thing. They can get in an environment where they're pushed and they take it as a lesson. But for some people, they rebel. And so it depends on how you take it. If you rebel, then you're not going to get anything from it. You could actually even get worse. But if you learn to take the discipline from this forced discipline area of your life and take it to other areas of your life, then you are on your way to self-discipline. The best way to take advantage of a situation like this is just to embrace the uncomfortableness. You got to get into it. You've got to be okay with what it feels like. And it's not going to feel good. It's not going to be fun at the beginning. But the beginning is always the hardest part. So stick with it and you'll begin to make progress. It'll become easier and easier over time. Be okay to be overwhelmed, but make sure that you push through. And so embracing an environment like this, it's very easy to talk about. It's very easy for me to tell you, yeah, be uncomfortable, do all these things. It's so easy to watch this video right now and be like, yeah, that's the right thing. I'll get into one of these environments and be pushed and be better. But here's the thing, it's so much harder in real life because you are going to be pushed. It is going to be uncomfortable. You're going to want to quit. You're going to want to go the other way. But I want to challenge you. Stick with it, and you're going to develop yourself into who you want to become. And so if you're looking for the right environment, one where you can get forced discipline, here's some good questions to ask. Do you walk into your environment too comfortable every day? Maybe that's not the right environment for you. Can you just be late without consequences? Maybe not the right environment for you. Can you be average or maybe even one of the best in your environment without trying? That's not going to push you. Do you have someone that you are constantly learning from and studying? Are you learning from them, or are you too afraid and don't have access to their knowledge? And so separate entertainment with passive progression. I would call that, watching this video, passive progression, because you're not actually getting better until you put this to work, until you learn what's in here, what discipline is, and start to develop that in your life. And so once you decide to continue to push through every moment, it's going to become easier and easier as you're in this environment. The beginning is the hardest part, but continue to push through. You're going to make progress. Eventually, there's going to be a point where you start finding momentum, and this momentum is going to help you make progress. You're going to see progress, be motivated by it. You're going to become better, which allows you to take on more. And that progress is going to be like a snowball going down a mountain. It's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. It's going to be harder and harder to stop. And at a certain point, you're going to hit a big goal. You're going to realize that you're starting to become the person that you want to be. And this is that momentum swing that I'm talking about. It's going to be easier and easier to stick with it because you're seeing progress. You're proud of yourself. This is like self-love and self-respect to yourself, because you are telling yourself, you are showing yourself how to become the person you want to be, and you're proud of it. And that's awesome. And so the second trait to self-discipline is discipline through life experiences. There may be a certain point in your life that you become aware of how important self-discipline is through an experience that you've had. Maybe for you, you look around and somebody is making a lot more progress than you and saying, hey, what is the difference? You realize that it's discipline. Maybe you wake up one day and you're at this job that you hate and you're tired of not making progress in your life. You say, hey, I've got to get some discipline so I can become who I want to be. Or maybe you even try to make progress and do something that you love, but you realize you're not disciplined enough to do it every single day. You see, all these are examples of learning self-discipline or valuing self-discipline through a life experience. There's two ways that you can have this experience. The first one is where everything changes in an instant. You are just sick and tired of being sick and tired. You realize you're not where you want to be, and so you change everything immediately. You say, I'm not going to be that person ever again. Or maybe you just take one small step that begins that momentum into another step, until eventually you start to become a disciplined person. You see, these self-discoveries can happen many times in life, and sometimes you will gain discipline, you'll lose it, you'll go through these cycles. But here's the thing, the longer that you can hold on to discipline, the easier it becomes to get it back, the easier it becomes to maintain it through your life. And so continue to go after it. If you have a bad day, don't have 2 bad days. Fix it. The next day, let's get back to where we were. The most difficult part of discipline is the very beginning, because it seems like it gets harder and harder every single day. But after a while, when you tell yourself that it's okay to be uncomfortable, you've practiced these traits we've talked about, at that point, there's a certain flip that switches to where it becomes a little bit easier. You start to go downhill and the momentum begins. There's actually a point where you start to love discipline. You realize that it brings you freedom. You're proud of who it makes you become. And so it's like a graph that you begin discipline, it gets really, really hard, but there's a certain point where you start to go downhill, becomes easier and easier. When we live at the bottom of this graph, we're proud of who we are. We're proud of the progress that we're making. We're waking up early. We're doing the things that we need to do to have a satisfying life. And life becomes exponential. We begin to love life and to begin to continually make progress. You do better at your job, and so guess what? You get promoted. You get more discipline in finance, so guess what? You're saving money, you're investing in it, you're becoming financially independent, so you have more freedom. And when you're better at your job, you spend less time at it. You can do it faster, so you have more time with your family. And when you get to spend time with your family, it gets to be better time with your family, because you're disciplined to turn your mind off from work. You're disciplined to be able to learn how to listen. you're looking up skills on how to listen. All this becomes exponential and your life begins to reward you for it. And so after watching this video today, I hope that you begin to make progress with discipline. It's made a huge impact on my life, and I challenge you to join with me. So again, thanks for watching my video. If you would like, subscribe to my channel. I just want to get better with people every single day, talking through finance and self-development. And so thank you for joining today. Thank you for being a supporter, and let's get better together.